be fun. So we're actually going to hear from a former FBI agent. And shout out to Amy for sending this over to me, because she gives some great insight into this whole Kelly Dever situation. All right. So shout out to Jodine Weber. And she says, in reference to Kelly Dever's testimony, hey, Boston PD, tell your officer, Kelly Dever, that immature, bratty conduct while testifying is a disservice to the victim, your agency, to the defendant, and to all female law enforcement who are professional. What a disgrace. And that's so true. We said it yesterday. We talked about it. It was not a great look. And y'all were even saying in the comments, like, are they all like this? Is this how they all act? Why isn't she trying to tell the truth? Why is she acting like it's okay or not a big deal for her testimony to change and her story to change, and for her to create a false memory because of what? Who knows? And then she went to the commissioner's office and now she's telling a different story on the stand. It does not make any sense. So we're going to hear from the FBI agent directly, see what she has to say about what actually happens when you talk to the FBI in this situation, specifically as a police officer, because at the time, Kelly Dever was a police officer. Y'all check this out. This is dope.
Maybe I can help give a little bit more explanation to, or a little bit more insight. First up, during my 22-year career, I did have several cases where I would need to interview local law enforcement officers from local jurisdictions. Typically, when that happens, the special agent in charge of an FBI field office will make a courtesy call to the sheriff, to the police chief, to the commissioner to let them know, hey, one of my agents needs to interview one of your officers. Now, that's done as a courtesy because local departments do help staff FBI task forces. The FBI has task forces for all sorts of different violations, for drugs, gangs, healthcare fraud, terrorism, child exploitation crimes, things of that nature. So it does help because local management, be it sheriffs, police chiefs, etc., they don't like to be caught off guard. So if you give them a courtesy call, they stay happy. If they're not happy, they could pull their staff from the FBI task forces, and then that makes the special agent in charge look bad. So they don't like that. So they try to be courteous about it. So I would anticipate that a phone call was made to the commissioner by the special agent in charge of the Boston field office, letting them know that agents needed to talk to Kelly. Kelly comes in. She sits down. And based on what we heard today, she was given the 1001 instruction. Now, the 1001 instruction is in reference to the 1001 statute, which says it's a violation of federal law to lie to a federal agent while they're working in their official capacity in law enforcement. So if you lie to an FBI agent, you're breaking the law. So let's break down what she told the FBI. She told them she saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz in the Sallyport on one of the monitors near Karen Reed's SUV. Now, here's what I will tell you all.
This is crazy.
The FBI knows the answers to pretty much all the questions they ask before the interview even begins, okay? She's there to lock in the testimony so they can write it down and document it and then have that for when and if they need to call her at trial. That's what they were doing. The fact that she told them that, she didn't just suck that out of her thumb. She saw that, okay? She saw that. Now, isn't it convenient that in her testimony, she said, yes, I worked overtime on the day shift. That shift ended at 3:45. And based on the timeline given by the defense, the car didn't arrive till 5:30. So I couldn't have seen that. Notice she never gave a specific time when she left the department. Now remember, there's a blizzard going on that day. They probably had a lot of officers out responding to different traffic situations. They had the John O'Keefe situation that morning where officers came out. There could have been officers that may not have been able to get into work that day because of the weather. I want to know, what time did she really leave the station? And is there any kind of proof of it? Do we have her leaving in a vehicle? Can we see that on video?
Not to mention, another question I would have is these conversations that Kelly supposedly had with the FBI or with the agents as they were referred to, or the other agency during the court proceedings. Where were those documented? Why don't we have those conversations? Because she said she talked to them and she quote unquote reported Alan Jackson or someone to the FBI because she said they threatened her with perjury. Where are those recorded? Where did that take place? Are we able to see that the FBI said, don't worry about it. We talked to our legal team and they said you should be okay. What it seems like what would happen is you have the commissioner that says, okay, that's fine. This is what you're going to tell the FBI. This is what you told the FBI. That's not a big deal. When you get on the stand, you do the right thing and we're going to protect you. You don't have to worry about it. The FBI is not going to be involved with this part of it. You can testify. You can say on the stand, this happened based on the timeline. It was impossible that you would have seen that and you had a false memory and you'll be okay. That seems like the conversation that happened to me. Will we ever know? Probably not, because Kelly was in the commissioner's office by herself. It was just her and the commissioner. It's wild.
Or is that another video that's disappeared from the Canton Police Department? There's a lot of problems with Kelly stating that to the FBI and now suddenly recanting it and saying, oh, well, I had false memory. Well, what public citizen is ever going to trust you in an official capacity now?
That's what we said.
How can I tell you something knowing that you've just testified you have faulty memory?
Yep.
How are you ever going to be able to testify again with your faulty memory? I just couldn't believe that. Couldn't believe that.
Well, believe it, because she's going to be protected by her boss. I mean, she can say whatever she wants to on the stand. And it's up to not Alan Jackson, as she supposedly was threatened to be charged with perjury. It's up to the DA's office. And you think if the commissioner's like, hey, we're not doing this. Don't go down this path. You think they're going to do it anyway? No. So she's going to be just fine in Boston. She got that $60,000 raise after only being there for 2 years. Come on.
And there's
we see what's going down here.
And her demeanor. I have had so many attorneys question me while on the stand, and they call me the wrong name. They'll say Jolene instead of Jodine, or Judy instead of Jody, which is my nickname. Or they won't call me by my title. They'll say Miss Weber instead of Special Agent Weber. You don't jump on that. You don't pounce. You just let it go. Let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Let the attorneys look bad. Don't you look bad on the stand by calling them out. Because you know what? I found jurors don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like when attorneys mistreat a witness. And so do I think Ellen Jackson was deliberately misstating her last name? No, I don't. But I thought her conduct responding to him looked even worse. It looked bratty. It looked immature.
I'm not gonna lie.
Looked obstinate. I mean, okay, let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say she really did have this faulty memory situation. Then you come in and you say, I was working a double shift. I was working overtime. I saw them in the Sallyport. I thought it was near Karen Reed's SUV. But then once I realized the timeline, I realized I did see them in the Sallyport, but it was with a different vehicle. How hard is that? Do you have to get snarky? No. She saw Higgins
That's a great point.
and Berkowitz in that Sallyport. And I have to believe she knew it was Karen Reed's SUV. How many other cars were brought in that day to that Sallyport? Really like to know that. How many Lexuses?
Mm-hmm.
How many? I don't think many. I don't think many. So everybody, I think part of the problem here is that this is just another witness in law enforcement and connected to this case that you just can't trust. You just can't. I mean, we've got all the problems with Proctor, Buchanan, Tully. Then we had the
Put
paramedic,
him on the
Nuttall,
stand.
who said he heard things he couldn't have heard because he was in the ambulance with the door closed. Don't even get me started on Jen McCabe. I mean, the group chat lies from trial number 1. And then, of course, this trial we learned she lied to the FBI and her husband wanted her to call back because he was worried she'd be charged with 1001. Carrie Roberts and her perjury before the grand jury. I mean, there's just been problem
Too
after
much.
problem after problem. And then we've got all the evidence problems. I just feel so bad for the taxpayers of Massachusetts. I feel bad for John O'Keefe. This is not any kind of justice. Whether you think Karen did this or not, you know, you're entitled to whatever opinion you want to have, but there shouldn't be all these lies by the so-called friends of the family or by
Too
anybody
many.
in law enforcement.
Too many.
No. So those are my thoughts, everybody. And the commissioner. The commissioner, I forgot about the commissioner. When he told her, do the right thing,
Allegedly.
that can be taken multiple ways. Okay? Some people might say, oh, you don't want your officer to lie. You want her to be truthful on the stand. But she said it herself. What she said on the stand today determines if she continues to work. Well, that could have a double meaning. Do the right thing could be witness intimidation too. So just, you know.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Shout out to former FBI agent Jodine over here, Jodine Baker. Y'all make sure you go show her some support. And shout out to Amy for posting this too. Great points. And it makes sense to all of us. We saw this during the trial. Something wasn't adding up. Why would you say this to the FBI? Why would you create this entire false memory to the FBI? And she didn't even give a reason. That's the crazy thing. She didn't say, oh, I was tired. I had been working a long shift. I was just trying to get out of there. Maybe I thought I saw that and I didn't. I was thinking of another day. She just said, yeah, I just had a false memory. So what? Boston PD now. I was brought to the commissioner's office. What are you going to do about it? It's a false memory. You're mispronouncing my name. That's what's important to me. And if I don't say what I'm supposed to say, if I don't do the right thing, quote unquote, I'm going to lose my job. The only reason I'm saying this on the stand is because if I don't, my job is at stake. What are we doing here? Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat.